Star Trek Lower Decks Season 5, Episode 9, Fissure Quest or Fissure Quest. I didn't review the last 2 episodes because I just didn't have anything new to say. And then this episode happened. So sit back and let's look at this episode. One of the biggest episodes of the season. We get to see the Cerritos crew very briefly, and then we get flung into another universe where we meet people going through these fissures, or these anomalies that have been popping up all season. We see that we get a mention of William Boimler, who was the Boimler who supposedly died from, he was a transporter accident from our Boimler, of whom was on the Titan, faked his death, and now he travels the multiverse trying to save, or trying to work out who is causing these fissures in the universe. We get introduced to the fact that most of the ship is Harry Kim's. We get the return of Garrett Wang as the Harry Kims. We get Curzon Dax, obviously before the actual Dax. We get Elam Garak and Dr. Bashir as a hologram by Alexander Siddig, and by Elam Garak's actor, of whom has gone out of my mind right now. I'll put it down here. Then we get like the biggest one, and I'm really grateful. Well, you know what? Second, both big. So T'Pol is on this bridge. She married Trip. And she's voiced by, and I'm pretty sure it's only listed as Jolene, but it's Jolene Blaylock back to do T'Pol. And I honestly thought that she wouldn't be a part of any Star Trek anymore, and it was really great to hear her voice. It was great to hear Alexander Siddig. It was great to hear all of their voices. Boimler, obviously a normal character. We get a Mariner popping in. We find out that the ship is creating portals one way, and then she comes back the other way. They are constantly chasing them through. How they rescue a Harry Kim, of whom's a lieutenant, and he finds out that all of his other Harry Kims on this ship are ensigns still, and he's pissed off, like no one ever gets a promotion. So obviously leaning into that why didn't Harry get a promotion in Voyager? In terms of Garak and Bashir, we get a relationship, a full gay, well, is it gay if it's a Cardassian and a hologram? I don't know. But a full romantic relationship between the two. Another internet sort of information. They got to play those characters like that. The Curzon Dax, we get to see him sort of at his biggest worth. T'Pol, we get to see her sort of, she was married to Trip for 60 years. So we get a multiverse story. Now, I'm not great with this multiverse story. I also think that I don't know why Prodigy and the other Star Trek series seem to just like, literally, when Prodigy did its end of season 1 cliffhanger, all the ships getting infected with a virus, which made them turn evil, that was kind of Picard season 2. And it was also Discovery season 2. And then the second season of Prodigy is all about the universe disintegrating and all of these issues popping up. And this season of Lower Decks is that. Like, is Prodigy just running the show in terms of story? But, so they managed to stop this ship. Oh, sorry, they managed to shoot this ship down. It crashes, it lands on a planet, and they go after it, damaging themselves in the process. And we discovered that this isn't actually an enemy ship at all. It is the return of Alfre Woodard as Lily from Star Trek First Contact. And I was immediately like, that is brilliant. And her universe, instead of creating warp drive, they created quantum universe travel, or metaverse travel, or whatever you want to call it. And I was like, oh, that's genuinely interesting. And she talks about how traveling the multiverse is looking at oneself, looking at what we could achieve and what can happen within in a different way to the way exploring the galaxy. The galaxy is strange new worlds, new creatures, learning with other aliens, sort of, and then we learn about ourselves that way. Whereas the multiverse is more about sort of an introspective look. There is a copy of most people in the multiverse. Now, throughout this episode, we get a Mariner who's a an operations officer, who comes aboard, and there's an instant trust between her and Boimler. And that's very clear. She's not quite as brash, this Mariner, and she's not quite as wacky. There's a lot of episodes like when Mariner first appears, she hugs Boimler, but then goes, "That's T'Pol, isn't it?" Like, a lot of really great references. The multiverse ship kind of looks like this ship. I think it's like the NCP. It was meant to be one of the older Enterprises. And it was genuinely sort of interesting. And they talk about how the multiverse is these millions of things. We haven't got a Kelvin timeline thing, which you'd think that they would do. Like, imagine having Zachary Quinto pop up, or having Chris Pine pop up, or having even Keith Urban. It's not Keith Urban. But, you know, having those actors turn up in this universe. But they didn't. But this is pretty damn close. We get characters. Garrett kicks some ass. He rescues them from these salamander people. And I really enjoyed sort of that sort of... They're too adorable to be evil, which is great. Boimler does make a reference that every time this kind of stuff happens, it's just one of them but evil. And what happens at the end is that Harry Kim, Lieutenant Harry Kim, being sick of seeing constant no progression for any of the other Harry Kims, decides to steal the metaverse ship and basically take all of the Harry Kims to his universe where they can get a promotion. These Harry Kims don't like the idea of that, but they go along in the beginning, but eventually they're like, we don't want to be a lieutenant if this is what it means. And it's sweet. Like, it's sweet, it's fun. That Harry Kim obviously tries to escape. The other Harry's been aboard. It's really sort of big. So in order to close the last fissure, because the metaverse ship is blown up, Boimler fires a laser or a beam that collapses it. But when he collapses it, he's sending the energy to one universe. And he decides to send it to the Prime universe, or the universe that Lower Decks is in, for Boimler, Mariner, Rutherford, and Tendi to deal with. And I think it's the first time where I've actually gone, oh, there's some stakes in this. But I can't help but notice the parallels between it and Prodigy, which I don't mind. You know what would have been great if Prodigy turned up in this episode? Would have been amazing. It was genuinely a fun episode. It had, like, seeing all those characters again was really fun. Seeing a spin on certain things, going with like the Garrick and Bashir gay stuff, and going with the Harry Kim never promoted stuff. These are fans who know the show and they know the Star Trek universe, and I genuinely enjoyed every moment of this episode. The last two episodes I felt were a bit sort of samey. Like, they're good, but there's nothing new to say. This episode, I felt like there was something new to say, although it is very much Star Trek Prodigy-esque. What did you think about this episode? Tell me in the comments. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I have been TrekTrav, and I will be back for next week's series finale of Star Trek Lower Decks.